Alrighty, welcome to the PocketDex app, the one-stop shop for um, Pokédexes and everything Pokemon social media, I suppose. Without further ado, let's go ahead and register a new user. Let's say, I don't know, Brian at, let's leave that, password, oh, that is not what I want to do. Let's just call him Brian. That's the username field. Let's put password 1 as the password. And if I try to create the account, you'll notice that I'm getting an invalid email format, which we are validating with the Android utils pattern matcher. So let's go ahead and enter in a valid email and try to create the account. Alrighty, and you'll notice the user created successfully toast, as well as the please select the Pokédex toast. But before we do that, let's go ahead and, or rather before we look at the Pokédexes tab, let's look at the profile view. And we'll notice Brian's username on the top left. Let's say Brian doesn't like his username and he wants to update it. We can. Let's just call him Brian11. And Brian doesn't like his password, so let's update the password. Enter in the old password, and then let's say password 2 is his new password, and let's update it. And then that will then update in Firebase Auth, which handles all of our user login information. And what I forgot to mention is the username is actually stored in Firestore, which we will use later. So let's go ahead and view the Pokédexes tab, where it's prompting me again to please select the Pokédex. If I, let's say, want to look at Pokemon in the Hoenn region, I can do that. I can click on any of these Pokemon and it'll load the sprite, the name, the ID, and the stats of the Pokemon. Something I haven't done is loading in the moves of the Pokemon, and that gets a little bit tricky because the moves vary by game, and I wanted to keep this simple. But all of this information is coming from the Poke API open source team, and it's a really awesome resource. So yeah, if I scroll the data, or scroll the Pokédex rather, you'll notice that some of these icons are loading dynamically because we're using lazy loading for a better user experience, and you don't just see the loading spinner forever and ever. It actually loads pretty nicely. And to drive that point home, if I go to the national view, or the national Pokédex, and let's say I wanted to scroll really fast, this will attempt to do lazy loading and load all of these sprites and information dynamically. And I can click on any one of these Pokemon and it'll load that dialog with all of the same information we saw before. Additionally, we can also search for the Pokemon if we wanted to. Let's say we want to search for Charizard. We can do that, and it'll load the dialog with Charizard. If, let's say, we enter in some nonsense, it'll try to, and then it'll tell you that that Pokemon doesn't exist, basically. Alright, so that's basically the Pokédex tab in a nutshell, just all these Pokemon regions in the Pokemon universe that you can, browse for your own edification. But what I want to show you next is the My Teams tab. And what you just saw there was a spinner where we try to load the teams of this user from Firestore, which this is a new user, so obviously they don't have any teams. So let's go ahead and create one by clicking the add button on the top right. And let's say we'll just call this, I don't know, Rocket. Man, I don't know. And then let's say I want to add Pokemon, and then it'll load all 1025 Pokemon, I think, but it'll load them dynamically for, once again, a better user experience. And I can just start selecting Pokemon here. Let's say I want to have this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. And we can add selected. And as you can see, we have added 4 out of 6 Pokemon, which there's a 6 Pokemon limit, so I can keep adding Pokemon. Let's say I want to add Charizard. Or let's say I want to search for a Pokemon. Let's say we want to add Blaziken. If I spelled that correctly. Yes. So I can add him this way by searching, and you'll see him load there at the bottom. You can also edit the Pokemon on this screen. As you can see, the little trash bin icons. If I want to get rid of, for example, Crobat, I can get rid of Crobat. I can add a new Pokemon, and you'll see them populate at the bottom there. And then I can save here, and this will save to Firestore. I can actually click on the team again if I want to make some changes. Let's say, I don't know, I changed my mind about Venusaur, and I want to add in Blastoise. I can do that. And then I can save that. What you'll notice here is the trash bin icon. I can get rid of the team and delete them from my teams, which will delete them from Firestore. I can like my own team if I want to. Let's go ahead and do that. And what you'll notice in the Safari tab is all of the other teams of the other users that have created teams. And you'll notice in the card it'll say the username, their team name, and the sprites of the Pokemon in their team, as well as how many likes that team has received. So let's say I want to like that team. I want to like this team. And let's like another one. I don't know. Let's say Brock's team. Okay, and what I can do is I can then sign out. I can log in as an old user, but since I've forgotten all my old users, let's just create a new one. Let's call this Bobby at email.com. Let's call him Bobby. Password is uncrackable. And then let's create the account. You notice Bobby doesn't have any teams. But if I go to Safari and I look for the team that we just created, which was Brian's Rocket Man team, you notice the one like, and yeah, I can like it as well. And you'll see all the other teams that we saw before. And if I sign out here and I log back in as Brian, if I remembered, it's password 2. We have remembered. And you'll notice I have 2 likes now on my team that Brian can see in his view, in his my team view rather, with the 2 likes. And then if I go to the Safari zone, I can still see all the teams that I've already liked. But yeah, that is PocketDex in a nutshell. Don't think there's anything else I want to show you. I suppose I could delete this team from Firestore and prove that that works, which it does. Yeah. Alright, thank you for watching. One thing I forgot to mention, which I'm adding here at the end, is that you can actually click on the teams in the Safari tab, and it'll load the team view of that team, and you can see all the Pokemon in that team. You can click on these icons. There's a bug there. I should be adding in the stats of that Pokemon, but we'll pretend like we didn't see that. But yeah, so I can click on any of these teams and view the Pokemon in greater detail. Yeah, that's it.